What's up, guys? This week we got the third running back we're talking about for this draft class and the final guy that's in my top tier of running backs for this year. And we've already talked about Brees Hall. We've already talked about Isaiah Spiller. I assume you know who this next person is. And it is Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State, the Wake Forest transfer. Really one of the poster kids for the transfer portal coming into the year. And with the season that he had, it's no wonder that the transfer portal is exploding like it has over the past month or two. We're going to get into Kenneth Walker's tape and his strengths and weaknesses, but really what has put him here is the fact that he's at Michigan State and not Wake Forest. He is 5'10", 210 pounds. He was a three-star recruit. He only had 3 FBS offers. He went to Wake Forest. The other 2 were Arkansas State and then another team I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But Wake Forest was the best of the 3. And he did decent at Wake Forest, 579 yards exactly rushing both his freshman and sophomore season. So, under 600 yards rushing, didn't really get to show off a big production that we're looking for. So, I had heard of Wake Forest's Kenneth Walker, last offseason, last year during the college football season. I watched him his tape, thought he had some, exciting lateral ability, some burst. But, hey, he's a Wake Forest running back, probably not a huge Devy asset, but, hey, there was talent there. When he moved to Michigan State, that really put him in the perfect situation to explode, and explode he has. He went from the transfer portal to Heisman hopeful. He was in the conversation until pretty close to the end. And he just dominated with Michigan State this year, was one of the best college running backs in the nation. And going from 579 yards a year to, in 2021, amassing 1,636 yards on the ground. Just incredible. 18 touchdowns. He also had 13 receptions, when in the past 2 years at Wake Forest, he only had 3. So the transfer portal really changed Kenneth Walker's life. Not just his career, but his life, as he is now easily a day 2 pick. And we can talk about, he might have the chance to sneak into the first round. So the college production has been there this past year. He dominated, as I've talked about. And let's get into what makes him a good prospect. And number one, jumping off the board for me, jumping off the film, and what I talked about and what I saw while he was at Wake Forest is just that side-to-side lateral ability. His ability to stop, start, make defenders fall back on their heels, and just get by people is really incredible. He's definitely one of the better running backs in this draft class, in that elusiveness. A lot of the running backs in this draft class, they're a bit stockier, or big, small, either way, they're stockier, and they don't really rely on elusiveness. But Kenneth Walker is really good at that. He can get around people, no problem, whether it's behind the line of scrimmage or after into the second level. He has no problem running up the middle or outside, and he doesn't push it outside to the sideline. And that's something that we see a lot with elusive running backs or playmakers in college. These are guys that run east to west, and then they make something happen because they're just athletically gifted. But Kenneth Walker is not like that. He is athletically gifted. He has that lateral ability, but he's a north to south runner. He can run downhill, and that is his main priority, getting to the end zone. So, being able to combine those things and have a nice balance is what makes him a great prospect at the running back position. And speaking of balance, that's another thing. The contact balance, the ability to stay upright. He gets so low in his cuts. He really drops his hips and gets low. And not only does that help him just get in and out of his cuts, but it helps him break tackles as well. That low center of gravity, a lot of arm tackles aren't able to bring him down. They can't wrap him up. They can't get their full weight on him. And he just brings something to the table that I like to see, this lateral ability, that ability to stay up. And he can create his own yards, which a lot of running backs, they just take what's given to them. You can have some really good running backs who just take what they get, and they can be productive. But Kenneth Walker has some upside compared to some of the other guys in this class because of his ability to create his own yards. So if the offensive line blocks for 4 yards, Kenneth Walker might get 8, 10, 12, rather than just getting that 4 or 5, So there's broken plays on the tape where Kenneth Walker pulls out a 30-yard touchdown out of nowhere when he was, sitting on the back of his offensive lineman with 3 defenders next to him. And he just makes it happen somehow. And, sometimes we see these players just have that nose for the end zone. They have that ability to make the plays out of nothing. And Kenneth Walker is one of those guys. It's kind of hard to quantify, but you see it on the tape. Going into his weaknesses, I don't really have a ton of weaknesses for Kenneth Walker. He's a pretty all-around running back. I don't think he does, too much super elite ability. That's kind of the trend with this class. A lot of good running backs, but not elite. But Kenneth Walker definitely could improve in a couple areas. One that's going to be kind of hard to put against him is the production. He didn't have the stats at Wake Forest, but as I said, the tape looked decent at Wake Forest. You could see the flashes. You saw that there was potential for more, and he got into a better situation, and it came to fruition. So I'm not really going to hold back the lack of production his freshman and sophomore year. The junior year really proved that, that talent was there the entire time, just needed a good situation. And, hey, he got that situation, and he took advantage of it. Really, the biggest knock against Kenneth Walker is going to be on third downs, third and long. As I said, he only had 3 receptions at Wake Forest each year, only 13 at Michigan State. So he hasn't had a lot of tape with catching the ball, hasn't had a lot of production in that spot. I don't think he's a bad catcher of the ball. I think he can catch the ball fine, get down the field, make something happen, get him out in space. But the big problem with Kenneth Walker and what's going to keep him on the sideline in third and long situations when he gets to the NFL is that he doesn't really excel in pass protection. I'm not going to say he's terrible. He does, pick up some blitzers. He does get in the way, but he's more just getting in the way at this point, not really blocking, not moving guys outside the pocket around the quarterback. He's a guy that's going to get in the way right now, but not really take his defender out of the situation. And if he can improve in that position, because he has the thickness, he has the size, he can be a good pass blocker, but he's really got to work on that craft, be taught some technique. And if he can get there, I don't see why not. He can't be a 3-down workhorse running back. Now, going into the rest of the draft season, we're always excited for the NFL Combine. I think he's going to test pretty well. He might not have that elite long speed that some running backs have, but he has plenty of short area burst, and I think he's going to test really well because of that. He's got that agility. He's got that burst. He's going to do well at the NFL Combine. I think the biggest thing to watch out for Kenneth Walker, he's listed at 5'10". I think he's 5'10". If he comes in at 5'9", it's not really going to bother me. But I'm going to tell you that if he comes in at 5'9", we're going to hear about it a lot more than we probably should, because for some reason there's a big difference between 5'10" and 5'9". So I'm just going to hope that Kenneth Walker comes in at 5'10". That way we don't have to worry about it. Now, once we get to the NFL draft, I'm thinking much like the other running backs in this draft class, he's probably a second rounder. Somewhere early, mid, second round, I would say, with the momentum that he got. But I think he's also the most likely running back to jump into the end of the first round. He's got that momentum. He was the Heisman hopeful. We've seen running backs before, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, have that momentum from the end of the season and get into the back end of the first. It only takes one team to fall in love with the traits and the fit into the scheme for them to take that chance on him at the back end. And I think Kenneth Walker has the best chance out of Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller. So there's a chance he goes there. Could see something similar to the Clyde Edwards-Helaire contract with the 5th-year option. But most likely, I think he's a second rounder. I think that's where we see a lot of running backs go these days. Now, where is he going to go? I always pick like 2 teams. So it's hard with running backs because a lot of the team fits are usually the same teams because they need a running back. But I tried to find something a little bit different this time with Kenneth Walker, because Kenneth Walker is going to excel on the first 2 downs in the run game. And as I said, he's not going to be on third and long situations his rookie year, most likely. I can definitely see him getting there by his sophomore year. But his rookie year, he needs to be saddled with a veteran who is good on passing downs. And a couple teams fit that mold right away. One is the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, he is, I think, a good quarterback who has some upside from what we've seen. And I think he excels off of play action. He needs a good running back behind him that, he can work off of play action. I think Kenneth Walker would be a great match with the Miami Dolphins. And then on third and long, Myles Gaskin is more than a serviceable third down running back. He's good in pass protection, and he has a lot of upside in the receiving game. So I think, while it might not be a star-studded all-pro backfield, I think Kenneth Walker and Myles Gaskin could be plenty enough for the Miami Dolphins to get headed in the right direction and see where they go from there. Another team that I think would be worth Kenneth Walker's, talent and draft position is the Houston Texans. Now, this would be at the beginning of the second round. They'd be pick 37 if they selected him, because I don't think he makes it to the third round pick they have. But Kenneth Walker would be able to go into that backfield and immediately add youth, immediately add talent. Right now, Rex Burkhead and David Johnson were the running backs for the past season, and both of them are free agents, and they're both older. I don't know if either of them come back. So while the Texans have a lot of holes to fill, and maybe running back isn't the biggest hole they need to prioritize, he would be doing well in that offense. I think Davis Mills is a decent quarterback that they can kind of work off of for a year or two and see if there's something there. Kenneth Walker would fit into that offense, especially if they keep using some pistol offense. I think Kenneth Walker does well there. Now, they can either bring back David Johnson or Rex Burkhead for that third down role, or there's plenty of other veteran running backs I'm sure they can sign cheap in this free agent class. So Houston Texans, Miami Dolphins, two teams I like Kenneth Walker going to. Of course, there's always the Cardinals. There's always the Bills, but Devin Singletary looked good through the end of the year. So there's a couple teams out there that can always pick up Kenneth Walker, but I think these two teams are pretty interesting. Now, that is all I got for Kenneth Walker. He's a great guy. Make sure you look up his highlights and his gameplay this season, because it really was incredible if you haven't seen it. He really set the world on fire in college football. So that's all I got for you this week. Make sure to tune in next week. We're going to be moving to a new position. No more running backs for the time being. We'll get back to them later. But you'll definitely want to check out who we're talking about next week, because they're someone we're going to be talking about a lot through this draft process and hopefully into their couple rookie seasons. So if that's it for me, make sure to like and subscribe, share. Dynasty Owner channel is killing it. The platform is awesome. I love it. I won my championship. You can win your championship. It just takes some good rookie picks and some smart salary cap management. Make sure to follow me at Nate NFL on Twitter and everything I'm doing over at the Dynasty Rewind. We have a lot of stuff going over there, and we are proud to be here with Dynasty Owner. They're one of our closest platforms that we're friends with, and we do a lot together. So until next time.